तव कथामृतम् तप्तजीवनम् कविभिरीडितम् कल्मषापहम् श्रवणमङ्गलम् श्रीमदाततम् भुवि गृह्णन्ति ये भूरिदा जनाः भुवि गृह्णन्ति ये भूरिदा जनाः।
ॐ तव कथामृतं तप्तजीवनं कविभिरीडितं कल्मषापहं श्रवणमङ्गलं श्रीमदाततं भुवि गृह्णन्ति ये भूरिदा जनाः. We have been reading the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, which is the translation of the Bengali book Sri Ramakrishna Kathāmrita, arranged properly by Revered Swami Nikhilanandaji Maharaj. And I told you in the beginning that Master Mahasaya, who has recorded these conversations, wanted to hide himself. And so he has used various names. And I told you that he is known as Mahendranāth Gupta or Master Mahasaya or sometimes Mani. Now somebody reminded me, it is not only Mani, sometimes Mohini Mohan, sometimes one Bhakta, like that also. So he has totally hidden himself, because he wants to present Sri Ramakrishna. As he deals with various types of people, including Master Mahasaya. And so he has recorded, not for himself, but for the humanity at large and for posterity at large. And in the beginning he had no idea that he will publish it. But after 10 years, the promptings came from within. And Girish Babu used to, Sri Ramakrishna's other famous householder disciple, Girish Babu used to poke at him now and then. And to him, Master Mahasaya once said that you can see it only after my death. But he did publish it. And we know that he was meant for that. We had described Shivananda Swami's saying that when something interesting would come, Sri Ramakrishna would look at him and ask him to note down. Note down means, have you heard? Like that he used to ask him. And also that used to call him sometimes. Another fact from Mahaprabhuji himself. Mahaprabhuji felt great interest and thought that I will record it. So he was just looking at Sri Ramakrishna once while hearing his talks in a particular way. He was not writing. But Sri Ramakrishna understood immediately. And he told him, it is not for you. For that some other person is there. It is not for you. Because they had to carry it into life actually. And Swami Shivananda understood the meaning. And before that he had already written something. He put all that into the Ganges. So, from all this we know that Master Mahasaya was destined to do that. We have seen the other facts of Swamiji's letter and mother's prompting. And then the actual fact we started reading, and it has been found that it is Sunday, 26 February 1882. It was on a Sunday in spring, a few days after Sri Ramakrishna's birthday, that M met him the first time. Sri Ramakrishna lived at Kalibadi, the temple garden of Mother Kali, on the bank of the Ganges at Dakshineshwar. M, being at leisure on Sundays, had gone with his friend Sidhu to visit several gardens at Varanagar. As they were walking in Prasanna Banerjee's garden, Sidhu said, "There is a charming garden on the bank of the Ganges where a Paramahansa lives. Should you like to go there?" M assented, and they started immediately for the Dakshineshwar temple garden. They arrived at the main gate at dusk and went straight to Sri Ramakrishna's room, and there they found him seated on a wooden couch facing the east. With a smile on his face, he was talking of God. The room was full of people who seated on the floor, drinking in his words in deep silence. M stood there speechless and looked on. It was as if he were standing where all the holy places and persons met, and as if Shukadeva himself were speaking the word of God, or as if Sri Chaitanya were singing the name and glories of the Lord in Puri with Ramananda, Swarup, and the other devotees. Sri Ramakrishna said, when hearing the name of Hari or Rama, this did we note it last time? Not only your chanting, but hearing. So it arouses all the sentiments within. When hearing the name of Hari or Rama once, you shed tears and your hair stands on end, then you may know for certain that you do not have to perform such actions or rituals as the Sandhya Vandana anymore. Then only will you have a right to renounce rituals. We may use another word, the right is not wrong. You are then qualified to renounce rituals. Or rather, rituals will drop away of themselves. You have seen all this we are reading out. Then it will be enough if you repeat only the name of Rama or Hari or even simply Om. Continuing, he said, the Sandhya merges in the Gayatri and the Gayatri merges in Om. We read all this. M looked around him with wonder and said to himself, what a beautiful place. What a charming man. What a beautiful man. How beautiful his words are. I have no wish to move from this spot. After a few minutes, he thought, let me see the place first, then I will come back here and sit down. This much he has written. As he left the room with Sidhu, he heard the sweet music of the evening service arising in the temple from temple or temples, from gong, bell, drum and cymbal. He could hear music from the Nahabat too at the south end of the garden. Nahabat means music room, and there were two Nahabats constructed, one at the south end of the temple near the Ganges and the other north of the Ganges, of the temple. And the north was used for living. Holy Mother used to live there, and Holy Mother's Thakur's mother came and used to live there. And the south only was used for music. And at the time, before or during Arati, they play the windpipe. That is, it has different names. Roshan Choki is one name, Shaina is another name. So, these are the names of that instrumental music being played there. Along with, of course, the drums. He could hear music from the Nabatu at the south end of the garden. These sounds traveled over the Ganges. This is Master's poetic mind, imaginative mind, or feeling the spiritual insight of everything. So he describes, fact may be there, but it has to be perceived. So the sounds traveled over the Ganges, floating away and losing themselves in the distance. So when the sound goes to the distance, then we do not hear it. Until then it is a music floating over the Ganges. A soft spring wind was blowing. Spring wind, carrying sweet smelling, soft, was blowing, laden with the fragrance of flowers. So Master Maharshi could perceive it immediately. The moon had just appeared. When they arrived, it was dusk. And when they came, then the moon had just appeared. It was as if nature and man together were preparing for the evening worship. Nature because moon has arisen, so as if lights are being waved for the all-pervading Lord. And man, through all these sounds and all that, getting ready to conduct the evening worship in the temples. Preparing for the evening worship. M and Sidhu visited the 12 Shiva temples, the Radhakanta temple, and the temple of Bhavatarini. This has come for the first time. The Mother Kali is there called Bhavatarini, one who saves or liberates, takes beyond from Bhava means this word, Sansar. So this Sansar is Bhava and it is like an ocean, and to take a man across is called Bhavatarini. So that is the name of the particular Kali in that Kali temple at Dakshineshwar. And as M watched the service before the images, his heart was filled with joy. So that depression has gone away now. With hearing Thakur's words coming through other gardens and now hearing the music. Watched the service before the images, his heart was filled with joy. On the way back to Sri Ramakrishna's room, the two friends talked. Sidhu told him that the temple garden had been founded by Rani Rasmani. So Rani was a title given to her. She was not a queen. She belonged to much lower caste, but she had wealth, noble qualities, and service to poor people and devotion to God so much that the Kali temple she made. So she is called Rani. Rasmani is her name. The family title would be Vishwas. He said that, Sidhu said that, God was worshipped there daily as Kali, Krishna and Shiva. That Radhakanta is Krishna. and one God has different forms. That is a common understanding in the Hinduism. When people do not understand, they say henotheism and how many names they give. We believe in one God. Hindus believe in many gods. Hindus know that the God has several forms suitable to the ideas developed in each man's mind. And here three are there: Kali, Krishna and Shiva. And that within the gates many sadhus and beggars were fed. Sadhus, because they depend upon God only. Beggars, because they have no means. So both these type of people were served meals there. When they reached Sri Ramakrishna's door again, they found it shut. So he'll come back and sit. It's difficult to happen. And Brinde, the maid, standing outside. So this name Asmacha is found later on only, but he is giving us the narrative, and he found that gate door is closed and outside Brinde is standing. N, who had been trained in English manners and would not enter a room without permission. So these are English manners. In India, we do not care for these things. We want to go, we just push and enter. And would not enter a room without permission. Asked her, is the holy man in? Vrinde replied, yes, he is in the room. Now, listen the conversation. Up to this, all right. Because it is closed, so he is asking whether he is in the room. She said yes. Him. How long has he lived here? Pause at this point. What is this? Suppose he has lived there for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 20 years. What difference will it take to the Master Master? But a city man or a Western educated man thinks that if he can count, he has known something. This is man's relation with this world. Educated man's, because we shall find the response of Vrinda was different. So how many years he has lived here? What difference does it make if he lives here for 5 years or 20 years? But why he has asked, and we have mentioned it here. No word is written uselessly. Each word has a purpose. So you catch this point? Oh, 10 years. Now I have known something. 5 years, I have known something. So this counting produces a feeling that I know something. See, in contrast, Vrinde, oh, he has been here a long time. She does not care for this. And long time means perhaps that when she was appointed, even before that he was living. So that is the meaning of long. But she does not care how many years. She could have counted or said more than this because she knows that much. But this is the difference between uneducated, unartificial, simple mind. So we see the human mind, that this Western education or city life or cultured mind feels that it knows something penny counts. While for the village women Vrinda, it has no meaning at all. This is the first thing we learn here. Then something more. M. Does he read many books? Because M was impressed by the talk. And the talk were talk of very high wisdom. Though he had liked the man, though he had seen people drinking his words, yet this is, he will mention afterward, his idea of a wise man is that he reads books. And what is the reading books? Collecting other men's thoughts. So that is our definition, or a Western educated man's definition of a learned man or a great man, that he has read many books. While Vrinde does not require that. Vrinde says, books, oh dear me, oh dear, no. She has not seen books in his room. There are 3-4 books, but Vrinde might not have noticed them. They are all on his tongue. Now, that condensed gospel. Condensed gospel is there, no? First book. Today only I did not take it near. But Bengali is the same literally, huh? अरे बाबा बोईटोई सब और मुखे. Boitoi. That means she is not giving importance to books. Now sab or mukhe. Huh? Oh. Third visit. His tongue talks everything, even the highest truth. His words come from above. Master Masha's own translation of Vrinda saying sab or mukhe. Literally, Nikhilanji has done that. But Master Masha, so translation is conveying the ideas which might have arisen in Vrinde or which arose in Master Masha's mind. So, what he says, oh dear, no, not a single one. Book. His tongue talks everything. That means he does not talk. His tongue talks. Even the highest truth. So that is also not learned from books. His words come from above. So see the meaning of translation. Now, shall we improve over that? Anyway, I don't want to do that again. Huh? Now, reaction in M. M had just finished his studies in college. It amazed him to hear that Sri Ramakrishna read no books. For him, it was an absolutely new thing, unexpected, unseen, unheard. And so he was amazed. So he has heard he's a Paramahansa. And he has heard the opening sentences which had charmed him, and he has seen people drinking it. And all this is the result of reading books. So, what poor judgment a Western educated man, uninitiated in the field of religion or spirituality, and we expect that man to have read many books. And so he can answer our questions. So, we are amazed at M's getting amazed. Because we know it is not so, fortunately, but the position of Western educated young men in the beginning of that spread of Western even education and culture is this. M. Perhaps it is time for his evening worship, Sandhya. May we go into the room? Will you tell him we are anxious to see him? Now, twice I remarked that M did not understand that meaning of Sri Ramakrishna's sentence. That Sandhya merges in Gayatri and Gayatri, or that when you hear the name and all that. Now, it may have some other meaning. Let me correct myself. M has not understood Sri Ramakrishna is what no. M has not understood that saying. That is what I said twice. But M might have understood those, but he has not understood Sri Ramakrishna. That Sri Ramakrishna is talking his own experience. Sri Ramakrishna was engaged in Sandhya Vandana for years together from his sacred thread ceremony. And now he does not. So this state of Sri Ramakrishna's mind, M has not understood. So this question. These people have gone beyond the rituals. That is what Sri Ramakrishna is describing. So even M might have understood that, but he has not understood Sri Ramakrishna's state of the mind. That Sri Ramakrishna is speaking from his inner experience, not from reading books. So this is another thing we learn from here. Perhaps it is time for his evening worship. May we go into the room? Will you tell him we are anxious to see him? Vrinde, go right in. She knows that there is no formality with Sri Ramakrishna. There is no formality with Paramahansa. She does not know Sri Ramakrishna is God himself. But there is no formality with Paramahansa. She has not seen any formality with Sri Ramakrishna. So she says, go inside. Because the door is not shut, it is just closed. Go in and sit down. Sit down, then only you can listen properly. So Vrinde has this command. Entering the room, they found Sri Ramakrishna alone. Because at the time of Arati, Everybody has gone. Seated on the wooden coach, same where he was sitting. Incense had just been burned and all the doors were shut. The room had several doors. This side, that side, three doors, yes. So all the doors have been shut. Why the doors have been shut? Because the incense has been burned. And unless the doors are shut, it will not take its effect. And this incense, what it is? Dhuna Deva Vej. So there is some incense powder which is burnt. Let us see what the old translation, Master Macha's translation says. Incense is burning and the doors are closed. Okay? Even there is slight difference. Incense has been burned and there is an incense is burning. And all the doors were shut. As he entered, M with folded hands saluted the master. He does not know for a great person, we bow down and touch his feet, that M will learn much later. With folded hands. Then at the master's bidding, he and Shidhu sat on the floor. Sri Ramakrishna asked them, where do you live? What is your occupation? Why have you come to Varanagar? They must have said, where do you live? We are living in Calcutta or we are now in Varanagar. M answered the questions, but he noticed that now and then the master seemed to become absent-minded. Seemed to become absent-minded. Now psychologists will tell there is nothing called absent-minded. Mind is always present. But mind is irrelevantly present. That means instead of being conscious of the thing going on near it, it is conscious of something else. And in Sri Ramakrishna's case, mind has gone above this world. So abstracted. So he asked the question, but is not interested in the answer. That is what you fear. Interested means the mind is not there. Because it is evening. So Sri Ramakrishna's mind habitually has gone up. He has said that Sandhya is not required now. And so, though in a mechanical way, Sri Ramakrishna is asking questions, but he is unable to pay, not that he is asking questions and not interested, but he is asking questions but unable to pay heed to the answers because his mind is gone abstract. So M noticed it. M answered the questions, but he noticed that now and then the master seemed to become absent-minded. Now and then. Maje. Later he learned that this mood is called bhava, ecstasy. Later, after coming many days, he saw and people told him and he understood that it has become bhava. That means gone above from this gross world to the subtler relationship with God. And it is called ecstasy because the mind has become absorbed in that God's relation. So two names Nikhilanji gives here, bhav and ecstasy. In original Bengali, only bhav. Bhav, because the bhav is a Bengali word, to explain that, Nikhilanji has put ecstasy.
What is the
Hmm.
what is the
It might be seen. These are some of the questions put to M. M answers all this, but he notices that even as he speaks, Sri Ramakrishna gives his mind to some other subject on which he appears to be meditating. Entirely different translation. Wants to convey the idea. Then it is describing, it is like the state of the angler who has been sitting with his rod. Angler sitting with his rod means catching fish. The fish comes and swallows the bait, and the float begins to tremble. The angler is on the alert. He grips the rod and watches the float steadily and eagerly, but will not speak to anyone. Such was the state of Sri Ramakrishna's mind. So concentrating on one object of the world, that is what Master Mahasaya could think of. But Sri Ramakrishna's mind was actually gone up above the world. Later M heard and himself noticed that Sri Ramakrishna would often go into this mood after dusk, because it was evening. So he has gone into that mood, sometimes becoming totally unconscious of the outside world. And the inside becomes strong, then pulled inside. M. Now he has put himself as M throughout in the conversation. Perhaps you want to perform your evening worship. In that case, may we take our leave? So same question he had put to Vrinda and now he's putting to Ramakrishna. Because of that abstracted mood, because he is not paying attention. So he thinks that he is in a different mood and he wants to perform Sandhya. Sri Ramakrishna still in ecstasy. No. Evening worship? No. It is not exactly that. So he's forcing his mind to listen to what Master is telling. No. Evening worship? No. It is not like that. So he is not doing evening worship. His mind has gone up. After a little conversation, M saluted the master and took his leave. Come again, Sri Ramakrishna said. So this is important. Some conversation and he had to take his leave, it's getting night. So that thing I will come and sit back and that has not happened. And he wants to leave. The most important thing is that Sri Ramakrishna has said, come again. So unless we go to God again and again, unless we go to the Guru again and again, it does not create proper impression in the mind. And it has grip of all things. What has gripped Master's mind is that come again. On his way home, M began to wonder, who is this serene-looking man who is drawing me back to him? So because it is a nightfall and Sri Ramakrishna is not communicating much and he has to go to his house. but his mind is being pulled by Sri Ramakrishna on the very first meeting. So it shows that there are holy sanskaras or impressions in Master's mind. Who is this serene looking man who is drawing me back to him? Serene looking, Somya perhaps. Hmm? No, what is Somya?
Like moon.
Sometimes Somya is used synonymous with Sundar. But if beauty is that Sundar, is that which has created joy in you, Somya is that which has given peace in you. That is the difference. So that he finds serene looking man who is drawing me back to him. Is it possible for a man to be great without being a scholar? So that is still hurting him, hinting that he thinks by reading books man will become great. What a wrong impression the Western education has created in us. How wonderful it is, what is becoming great without reading books. I should like to see him again because he has given joy to him, because he has attracted him, because he has inside assured him that he will be lifted above. So he wants to visit him again. That day he has to go back, but with the thought that I will come again. He himself has said, come again. So he catches that support. So formal invitation is there now. I shall go tomorrow or the day after because this is situation. But as soon as possible, I will go. So that completes the description of first visit of the Master Master. Now we come to the second visit, the most important visit. M's second visit to Sri Ramakrishna took place on the southeast veranda at 8 o'clock in the morning. He does not say here. द्वितीय दर्शन शकल बेला समय ठाकुर तक. So we take that thing tomorrow or the after. We do not find the clear mention of the day when it took place. It was not much longer than 2 days. Now the situation, southeast veranda at 8 o'clock in the morning. Yeah. You see from the temple side, south, south. So temple side, first thing. And east. East means away from the Ganges. Yes. So there is a longish veranda there. The master was about to be shaved. the barber having just arrived. What does this signify? That Thakur is not in samadhi or any high mood. So on a level which is natural for the Master Mahasaya, the communication can take place. That is the importance of this barber. As the cold season still lingered, he had put on a moleskin shawl bordered with red. This Master Mahasaya sharp memory. Because that day a lot of conversation has happened. And after going back, he has remembered. Seeing him, the master said, "So you have come, that's good." He has asked him to come again, and he knows he will come. So that is good. Sit down here. He was smiling. So, no formality and smile is constant, as I told you. Barber has come, master has come, and he said smiling. He stammered a little when he spoke. So, what is this stammer? It is not like the normal stammer, but he used to speak in a broken way, not a continuous fluent speech like the lecturers. He would speak and halt and speak like that. That was his habit. Now, one small point, Bengali. So while shaving itself, he started talking to the Master Mahasaya. So in a very normal consciousness. Master to him, where is your home? Him. That means previously he has asked but not attending. Now he is asking seriously. In Calcutta, sir. Master, with whom have you been staying here at Varanagar? M. With my sister, sir, at Ishan Kaviraja's house. What is Kaviraja? It is the Bengali word for an Ayurvedic doctor. Kaviraja means literally king of poets or superior poet. But the meaning is always that Ayurvedic doctors are called in other parts of India as Vaidya. In Bengal, they are called Kavirajas. Master, at Ishan's, oh, I see. What is this conversation? Thakur wants to, Master Mahasaya to feel some relationship that he is his own Master Mahasaya. So he is asking. And now Ishan Kaviraj had treated Thakur once upon a time.
When his hand broke.
Huh?
When his hand broke, that incident. Which is
No, sometime. So Thakur knows him well. So he says, oh, Ishan, that means a common acquaintance has been formed. He is Master Masha's brother-in-law, and he has been Thakur's doctor. So Thakur shows that a connection. Oh, I see. Now, important questions are coming. Thakur wants to judge his spiritual moorings. Why? Because Thakur can guide anybody with any mind to go to God. But he tries to know what type of spiritual inclination he possesses. So the common point of concentration of all Western educated young men interested in religion or spirituality was Keshav Chandra Sen. And we know that he was Master Masha's relation also. But that Thakur does not know. But is asking question, do you know how Keshav is doing at present? I heard he was seriously ill. M. Yes, sir. I too heard the same. I trust by this time he is doing well. So though he is relative, he does not know. Because all this will show that the sanskaras were deep, but on the surface, the religious hankering or religious feelings have not been aroused. Because the whole Bengal is attracted to Keshav Chandra Sen, and Master says, maybe. So I started reading from the old book. Yes, sir, I have heard something like that. No. Indeed, I have heard so too, but I believe he is well known. Believe. Sri Ramakrishna. Now he is showing that he is too dear to him, and through him people are coming. I made a vow to worship the mother with green coconut and sugar on Keshav's recovery. So that is a common offering. That means if it is cured, I will offer you this. Sometimes in the early hours of the morning, I would wake up and cry before her. So intense feeling is there for Keshav. Mother, please make Keshav well again. If Keshav doesn't live, whom shall I talk with when I go to Calcutta? So that is the center of his spreading in Calcutta. And so it was that I resolved to offer her the green coconut and sugar. Now there it has misfired. So another question. Tell me, do you know of a certain Mr. Cook who has come to Calcutta? Is it true that he is giving lectures? Once Keshav took me on a steamer, and this Mr. Cook too was in the party. So he is asking, because the Christians were spreading and people were interested in his lectures, also because Keshav had invited him. So what inclination, what impression Master Masha has about him, that Thakur will find out the spiritual inclination. So Keshav question misfired. So he asked the next question. Yes, sir, I have heard something like that. But I have never been to his lectures. I don't know much about him. So that also gone. Hmm? Sri Ramakrishna. Now this is a strange paragraph, and we will not know who is the person involved. Let us read and then I will explain. Sri Ramakrishna, Pratap's brother came here. Now in Sri Ramakrishna's life, there is a Pratap Muzumdar, there is a Pratap Hazra. And who is this Pratap? We do not know. Pratap's brother came here. He stayed a few days. He had nothing to do and said he wanted to live here. I came to know that he had left his wife and children with his father-in-law. He has a whole brood of them. Will people from the neighborhood feed them and bring them up? He isn't even ashamed that someone else is feeding his wife and children and that they have been left at his father-in-law's house. I scolded him very hard and asked him to look for a job. Then he was willing to live here. What is the relevance? You tell me now. Why tell this to Master Manshe? Why? What is the relevance? What is the connection? Is Sri Ramakrishna speaking irrelevantly something?
To not run away from responsibility.
No, Sri Ramakrishna has understood inside that Master's coming to him has two elements. He wanted to commit suicide. And he also has children.
But at this point, here Thakur does not know that Master Marsha is children.
Inside he has known everything. Suppose he does not know. But Pratap's brother had a wife and children. And he is not caring for them. So has Master also come like that? And it is a great thing. Now I am reminded here of something of Maharashtra. Maharashtra, there was a famous saint, Tukaram. You know how famous he was? The film made upon Tukaram won the prize in Moscow, international level. And the philosophy there is that if you depend upon God, you need not care for your family. And he never cared for his wife and his children. People out of respect would give big prizes, he would return them. And they were hungry and dragged from here to there. And he did not care for them. And it is called a very great man. Now I am directly speaking, please. People from Maharashtra might get angry on me. And how his life ended, do you know? The legend is that Sadeha Vaikuntha Gaman. He with his body, own body, has gone to Vaikuntha. And another fact about him was, at that time his wife was pregnant. And he had a posthumous child. So Thakur would never recommend that life. He is not ready to leave his wife. He wants her for sex. And money he will not earn. Even people give him, he will not take. And this is called high vairagya. The only lesson why it become popular is that if you are loving God, you need not leave your house. That is the only lesson they draw from there. Okay, you need not leave your house, but then take interest and care for them. That is a part of your duty. And that is what Thakur is telling Master Mashi on the very first day, apparently irrelevantly. But it is impossible as we proceed that Thakur talks even one word irrelevantly. So inside here, I would say, suppose he has some such element that Thakur wants to cut at the first point. He has not shown religious inclination. That is another point. But Thakur sees that there are very good sanskaras. So, if that visit, and it was known that he had about to commit suicide, leaving his wife and children with his father and mother. So they will feed him. If you go away, they will feed them. So this is a great lesson. Not knowing anything, suppose, of Master Mashi's life, but Thakur has taught this to Master Mashi. So at once we understand, I would use strong language, Thakur has condemned Tukaram-like life. And you understand this point? So further talk will be there to judge Master Mashi's mind and in what way Thakur will take him to God. That we shall see. But this point, negative point, is important. Otherwise, tell me the relevance. And Thakur would not talk irrelevantly to anybody. Many things it has happened. We've seen the great master that Thakur does not know physically outside the context, and he speaks something like that. So we'll continue it tomorrow, but this is the thing. We are yet to enter inside, and gradually we are approaching that. We have found two things in today, 2-3 things, other than the first meeting over, that a relation in a very normal plane of consciousness, because Barber is there. Secondly, inquiries to make Master Mashi feel own, at home. Thirdly, inquiries to judge Master Mashi's spiritual inclination. Fourthly, warning him that that type of shirking the responsibility will not do. That is what we have learned today. Om Tava Kathāmritam Tapta Jivanam Savibiriditam Kalmashapaham Shravanamangalam Shrimadaatatam Bhuvi Grunanti Ye Bhuridajana. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.